Lay down and relax. I shall read to you. You didn't come here by accident, little human. Something pulled you. The Middle Ages were not just castles and candles. They were full of doors that should not have existed. Roads that led nowhere. And names that the world itself forgot how to remember. Tonight I will open a few of those doors for you. I will tell you of towers that grew when no one watched, of children who spoke with graves, of cities that vanished without a sound, and of books that learned how to erase people. I was there when these things happened. I watched fear learn how to whisper. I watched mystery learn how to breathe. So lay down your worries beside my fire. Let your screen grow dim. Let your thoughts wander. Because the moment you hear these stories, you will realize the past was watching you. Long before you ever dared to watch it back. Mystery 1. The crown that remembered, expanded. In Aachen, in a vault beneath cathedral stone, rests a relic known as the Crown of Thorns. It is not the crown of Christ. That is another legend entirely. But a spined circlet hammered from iron. Long before kingdoms learned mercy. Kings believed it made them eternal, but the crown remembered better. When worn, it whispered, not instructions, not commands, names. Those who placed it upon their head dreamed not of victories, but of faces, blood-darkened eyes, mouths frozen open, hands clawing empty air. Generations of dead spoke through sleep. Fields replayed their endings. Children's faces flickered like candles blown out in storms. Some kings awoke screaming and refused the crown ever again. Others wore it daily and grew unrecognizable, speaking to shadows, weeping without reason, commanding executions with shaking voices. One ruler leapt from his tower after a single night wearing it. Another removed it and ordered it sealed, and never won another battle in his life. The crown still exists, resting, waiting. Perhaps it does not curse. Perhaps it only remembers what history prefers to forget. Mystery 2. The rooted library expanded. There are doors beneath cities, not cellars, not sewers, older doors. In Rome, Prague, Paris, the oldest places, there are stairways no maps agree on. Some descend behind false walls. Some appear only during storms. Some vanish the moment they are noticed. And beneath them all is said to be a library not built by hands, but grown. Shelves curve like ribs, floors pulse faintly like breath. Pages are not bound, but fused, layered like leaves. Some books are written in bone-white ink that never dries. Others hum faintly. A few whisper when closed. Scholars do not enter and remain unchanged. Some return with pale eyes and no speech. Some forget their own names. Some bring books that crumble instantly upon sunlight. I have walked where words grow like fungus. I have seen pages bloated with secrets too heavy to remain flat. And I have also seen a door inside that library that no dragon opens, not because it is locked, because it breathes. Before you drift too far into dreams, little human, a small favor from an old dragon. If you've enjoyed resting here beneath my wings, consider subscribing to my hoard of stories. Each new believer helps me gather more treasures and avoid ravaging cities for loot when I'm low on funds. I'm retired now, and my back makes sounds that haunt even me. Now, back to the story. Mystery 3. The man who dreamed tomorrow expanded. In Denmark lived an apothecary named Johann Ruiz. He was methodical, gentle, skeptical of magic, and dismissive of prophecy. He believed only in herbs and bones and balance. Then he began dreaming wrong. He dreamed of letters before they arrived, of accidents before they happened, of arguments before voices raised. He began writing everything, dates matched. When they didn't, they corrected themselves. His neighbors called it coincidence. Until a page appeared reading, "Tomorrow I will not wake." Johann tried to avoid sleep. He burned candles. He drank. He fled. He died anyway, peacefully, without visible illness. The journal did not stop. It continues. Entries appear. Some predict wars. Some whisper names. Where it is now, no one agrees. But if you ever find a sealed book that smells faintly of herbs, do not open it at night. Dreams get jealous when stolen. Mystery 4. The tower that grew, expanded. In the Carpathians there is a tower with no floor plan and no age. It is taller every time someone looks away. Not eroded, not rebuilt, grown. Stone seams realign. Windows appear where none were. Its shadow stretches slightly further every year. There are no doors, no stairs, no way inside. But claw marks circle its base, deep, old, deliberate. Some say the tower absorbs time itself. Others believe it is a monument slowly being written upward by something beneath the world. I flew past once. It leaned toward me, not moved. Leaned, as if listening. I have not returned since. Even dragons know when curiosity is about to hurt. Mystery 5. The city that returned only at night. Along the coast of the Adriatic, maps once marked a port city called Valdemara. It was prosperous, loud with traders, and built entirely of pale limestone that glowed at sunset like a banked fire. Then, one morning, ships sailed in and found only empty water. The city was gone. No rubble, no smoke, no trace of collapse. The sea lay calm where streets should have been. For years, sailors avoided the bay. But then a fisherman swore he anchored there one night and tied his rope to a post carved with saints. He ate beside a fountain that ran sweet water. A woman passed him carrying bread. By dawn, he returned home with wet boots and a bowl stamped with Valdemara's crest. Others followed, and they learned the truth. The city returned only between dusk and dawn. Buildings stood, bells rang, ovens warmed bread behind shuttered windows, candles burned on. Windowsills as if waiting for someone who never arrived, and the few figures moving through the streets never spoke. never turned fully toward visitors, and never crossed into daylight. Those who stayed until sunrise were never seen again. The city would fade with the light, towers thinning into mist, doors dissolving into salt air, until only sea remained. I circled above it once at night, wings stirring phosphorescence from dark water. From above, it shimmered faintly, as if built from moonlight and memory. When morning came, my shadow passed through rooftops as though they were smoke. Valdemara still returns every night, waiting for citizens who never finished dying. Mystery 6. The knight who never removed his helmet. In Saxony lived a knight who never removed his helmet, whose armor never dulled, and whose voice echoed oddly from within steel. He rode during daylight, ate alone, and never slept where others could see. His name was Conrad, and his service record stretched across decades without a single scar. People feared him, not because he was cruel, but because he never aged. Village children grew into fathers while Conrad remained unchanging. Battles came and went. Kings rotted in their crowns, but the knight's visor never lifted. Inns refused him service after a maid swore. She saw no eyes within the helm, only silver darkness like moonlight on water. One winter, Conrad failed to arrive. Search parties found his armor propped neatly against a tree in the forest, like a statue left behind. Too long. Inside the helm, there was only frost, and a single silver thread shaped like a tear. No body, no blood, just empty iron and silence. I flew low through that forest once, and felt something still walking there. Not footsteps, but remembrance moving slowly among branches. Some nights ride into legends. Some outgrow their skin. Mystery 7. The hospital where no one died. In northern Germany, there stood a hospital run by a woman no one remembered growing old. Her name was Marta, and she healed soldiers no surgeon could save. Cuts closed beneath her hands. Fevers broke like frost under sun. Men brought in bleeding, left whole. Word spread. the cemetery never filled. And that is when villagers noticed not one patient had ever died in her care. No graves were dug, no funeral bells rang. Then, one night, the hospital burned. Smoke rose, frantic and black. But when the fire was out, there were no remains, no bones, no ash. Not even melted iron on the beds. The building stood empty. Citizens swore they later spotted patients walking through woods and fields, pale, slow, and never answering, not dead, and not living. I stood among the ruins once. I smelled neither rot nor smoke, only cold, like a place where endings had been postponed too long. Mystery 8. The river that forgot hours. South of Vienna, a river known as the Mora once flowed quickly, silver and honest. Then one year it slowed. Not seasonally, but completely. Boats drifted into it and emerged days later only a few miles downstream. Fish stayed motionless, but alive. Leaves fell and hung suspended, as if resting on invisible glass. Travelers reported losing time. An hour became sunset. A few minutes aged men 10 years. Watches stopped within its mist. Horses refused to cross. When the river was finally diverted by engineers centuries later, its channel remained dry, yet cold, and the air above still distorted moonlight. I dipped my claw into it once, and withdrew it. Older. Time here had not stopped. It had pooled. And now, little human, the night has grown heavy with secrets, and even mysteries must learn when to rest. You have walked through vanished cities and silent bells, through books that forgot there, readers and clocks that would not agree with the sun. If your thoughts feel slow and soft, that is only the mind folding its wings. Let the world dim. Let the unanswered questions curl into quiet corners of your dreams, where they may harm nothing, and mean no hurry. You do not have to solve history tonight. You only have to sleep inside it gently. I will remain here where shadows end. Dragons are old guardians of forgotten things, and I do not. Tire of keeping watch while smaller creatures find their peace. The past cannot reach you now. It is sealed behind centuries and firelight. Breathe slowly. Let sleep rise like smoke in warm air. And if something whispers in your dreams, know it is only a story finding its final shape. Rest, little human. I have the dark well in hand. Good night, humans.